Linley, accept his offer." Hillman was extremely excited at this moment. Linley's heart raced with excitement, yet his mind remained incredibly clear, allowing him to appear calm on the surface. He understood that becoming a member of Oakfield Institute, with Dennis's guidance, would make it possible for him to become a high-level wizard in a few decades. And, most of all, this offer meant that his family stood a better chance at regaining its former name and status. "Sir, it would be an honor to become a member of the Oakfield Institute," Linley said respectfully. Surprised by Linley's composure, the middle-aged man in the white robe continued to smile and said, "Linley, I will send your identity details to the Institute. When the time comes, you only need to come and take another test upon entering the Institute to officially become a member. The academic year at the Oakfield Institute begins on February 9th, and there are 2 semesters. Just make sure you arrive before this date. And this letter will confirm your admission. After the other assessment, of course," the middle-aged man in the white robe said, pulling a red letter from his pocket. Upon learning Linley's results, the middle-aged man in the white robe had already penned Linley's name on the admission letter, certain that an invitation from the Oakfield Institute would be irresistible. "Thank you, sir." Linley took the red letter and graciously bowed. Although he appeared calm on the outside, Hillman was brimming with excitement. At Oakfield Institute, every student was held in high esteem, and Linley's future accomplishments were already foreseeable. "Mr. Hillman, let's go," Linley said as he placed the red letter in his pocket. In the crowded hall, everyone, whether nobles or commoners from Sovereign City, stepped aside for them. Even the others who had previously looked down on Linley now wore friendly smiles, their attitudes noticeably more welcoming. Being a student at the Oakfield Institute was a symbol of prestige. As nobles, commoners, and clergy members looked on, Linley and Hillman walked out of the church hall. Nimbles squeaked as it sensed Linley's excitement after they left the hall. At this moment, Linley's excitement was clear. He clenched his fist tightly, eagerness sparking in his eyes. "Let's leave for home today. I cannot wait to tell Father the news." The next day at the Wolfram estate, Horace had just finished his lunch and was leisurely reading a book while sitting on a deck chair outside the living room. Suddenly, 2 figures appeared before him. It was Linley and Hillman, who had hurried back from Sovereign City. At this moment, both had their faces lit up with excitement. "Dad, I'm back," Linley shouted. "Lord Horace," Hillman also said excitedly. Horace looked up and, seeing the excited expressions on Linley and Hillman's faces, felt a hint of anticipation. He immediately stood up, looked at the 2, and asked in a slightly trembling voice, "So how was it? How did it go?" Their family had been inactive for too long and were in dire need of an exceptional talent to restore the family's glory. "Lord Horace, it's Oakfield Institute. Linley's been given an offer from Oakfield Institute," Hillman said with excitement. Horace was stunned. At this moment, he felt like his mind went blank, as if he couldn't breathe. "Lord Horace, are you okay?" Horace gradually regained his composure, looked at Hillman with wide eyes, and asked in disbelief, "Did you say Oakfield Institute?" "Dad, this is the admission letter from Oakfield Institute," Linley said as he handed the red letter to his father. Horace paused for a moment, then quickly grabbed the red letter, opened the envelope, and carefully read the admission notice inside, holding his breath. The bold, red letters spelled out Oakfield Institute and Linley Wolfram, marking a significant moment. Horace suddenly looked up and laughed, his whole body shaking with emotion until tears streamed down. "Our family has hope. Thank the gods. Thank our ancestors. We have a talent in our family. After all these years, the first ray of hope." That overwhelming laughter and the flowing tears left Linley stunned. "Dad," Linley called out softly, as if he was afraid to disturb his father. He had never seen his father so overwhelmed, and the tears flowing down made his heart tremble. Shaineb approached, visibly taken aback by Horace's unexpected reaction. At that moment, he was completely unaware of what had transpired. Horace took a deep breath, looked at Linley, and said, with excitement shining in his eyes, "This is wonderful, truly wonderful." "Hillman, Shane," Horace said with pride, "I'm hosting a big celebration tonight. Quick, prepare well. I'm overjoyed today, truly overjoyed. With a son like Linley, I can bring honor to the ancestors of my family. Yes, Lord Horace." the two of them replied in unison. Suddenly, Nimbles jumped out of Linley's arms and stood on his shoulder, glaring at Horace. Linley sensed the message from the rodent soul and couldn't help but laugh. It turned out that the little guy had been fast asleep in Linley's arms, but Horace's loud laughter had woken him up. Nightshade rodents slept a lot when they were young and really disliked being disturbed, so naturally Nimbles was very angry. "Is that a nightshade rodent?" "That's a dire creature." Horace's face changed dramatically upon seeing the little thing. "Father," Linley quickly interjected, worried his father might react. "Don't worry, Nimbles has already formed a spectral pact with me." Horace looked as if he had been struck by lightning, standing there in shock for a moment. You trained this creature, this nightshade rodent?" Horace knew well that Linley's strength was limited, and even the weakest nightshade rodents were at least Tier 3 creatures. Moreover, the idea of Linley establishing a spectral pact seemed utterly impossible. "Yes, father, I trained him," Linley said solemnly. "Remember I had told you about it? This is the same little guy I found in the backyard." Horace noticed a profound change in his son, as if Linley had become an entirely different person. "Lord Horace, Linley truly tamed the nightshade rodent. I saw it with my own eyes. It's the same animal Linley has been feeding with wild rabbits and pheasants lately," Hillman confirmed. "The animal you've been feeding?" Horace suddenly remembered and stared at Linley in disbelief. "I can't believe it. This is the one you were feeding. I didn't think it was a real dire creature." Linley nodded sincerely. At this point, Horace was torn between laughing and shaking his head. Who would have thought the little thing was actually a nightshade rodent? Although Horace was puzzled about how Linley managed to establish a spectral pact with Nimbles, he didn't rush to find out, as he was in a particularly good mood. "All right, let's not talk about this anymore. Shane, Hillman, take some guards and get them to prepare the feast quickly. It's going to be a big celebration tonight." Horace's expression was overtaken by pride and satisfaction. Linley looked at his father. From the time he could remember until now, he had never seen him so happy. That evening, the family estate was bustling with activity. Even about a dozen friends of the family and their relatives were invited over. 5 dining tables were set up in the front courtyard of the building, and the whole place was filled with laughter. Wharton moved around, eagerly grabbed various dishes, savoring each bite. "Linley, congratulations on entering Oakfield Institute. In the future, you will definitely become a distinguished and formidable mage," one of the guests said with a smile. Linley was the focal point of the dinner party. When everyone discovered he was about to enter Oakfield Institute, their excitement was palpable. It was easy to envision that once he set foot in Oakfield, he would embark on a promising journey. The future of the boy was destined to outgrow the humble village of Raven Peak. "Brother, everyone is toasting to you, so I will too," Wharton said as he managed to pick up his juice glass. Linley looked at his brother's greasy hand and was torn between laughing and shaking his head. But he still raised his glass and clinked it firmly with Wharton's. "Come on, drink up, little man." Late at night, once most had left, in the ancestral hall, only Linley and Horace were present. The door was closed and a row of candles lit the room, making it quite warm. Horace looked at the rows of memorial plaques and said in a low voice, "Linley, ever since the 5th generation of Dragon Blood warriors, our family has been in decline. We've even had to sell our ancestral treasure. Every time I think of this, I feel a deep shame for our once noble house." Linley stood silently behind him, sharing the same sense of shame. He felt proud to belong to an ancient family, with a legacy of over 5,000 years and a lineage of Dragonblood warriors. However, the reality that they had fallen so far, losing even the family's ancestral treasure, weighed heavily on him. "Linley," Horace suddenly turned to him with a solemn expression, "from today onward, I see you not as a child, but as the cornerstone of our family's legacy. The destiny of our lineage rests on your shoulders." "Yes, father." Linley nodded sincerely. "Wait a moment. I'll go grab something." Horace suddenly turned and walked towards the secret room inside the ancestral hall. In just a moment, he came out holding a book. "Linley, take it and read it carefully. Memorize everything." "What is this?" Linley asked, puzzled, as he took the book. There were no words on the cover, but when he flipped through it, the first page had 4 bold words. Dragon Blood Codex.
Wait, that's not the end. You've just had a free taste. Now get the full story on the Pocket FM app, link in description. Check out our next video and play